This is Andre. Welcome to another demo of the mysocket.io service. And today I want to talk about static socket endpoints. And this is to solve the problem where you may be running a service at home, like I'm doing right now in this demo, where I'm going to be running a service on my laptop, in fact, on a VM on my laptop that is behind 2 layers of NAT. And the other problem is my cable provider hands out DHCP IP addresses. So the IP address changes every few days or every few weeks. But what I really like is a static DNS endpoint for my service. And so that's what we're going to demonstrate in this particular demo. So maybe a little introduction, what we're going to be looking at. So we're going to be creating a socket endpoint. This is what you see here on the right. And a socket endpoint is basically a global VIP specific to your service. And you'll see exactly what I mean when we create one. But basically, it creates a global VIP that is deployed on our infrastructure, and it will return a static DNS name that is yours to use and will be there until you delete it. And so if you don't delete it, the name will remain. If it's a TCP service, it will also allocate your own dedicated TCP port. And then the second thing that we'll configure is a tunnel, and the tunnel is the second object that will connect your local service. In this case, what you can see on the left, the little Python service that will demonstrate with the global mysocket infrastructure. All right. And so in this example, we'll only focus on one tunnel, but there's no reason why you couldn't have more and do some load balancing. But that's a topic for another conversation. Okay, so the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to download a little Python program because we need to make something available. So this is a GIF service. So what does it do? So just to give you a quick overview, it's a little Giphy client. Giphy is a service that makes available GIFs. You can get an API key, so make sure if you do use this to generate your own, it's very easy to do. And basically all this service does is on each GET request, basically generate a random GIF, and you can give it certain parameters. And if that is successful, it will print the GIF and we'll put it in an image tag and it will print it out. So let's just take a look at what that looks like. So to do that, I need to know my IP address. So this is the IP address of my VM running on my laptop. So let's hook that up. And it's running on port 8000. Actually, I should start it. So let's start the service. There we go. So it's running now. And let's see what it looks like. There you go. Oh, hi. Well, that's an appropriate GIF to start the demo with. Excellent. So you could see that. The challenge here is, even though the service is running well, it's running on 192.168.64.16. So it's a private address, right? You cannot reach that. And I'd really like to show this service to you and maybe share it with others. Okay, so to do that, we're going to use mysocket.io. So let me just reformat the screen here a little bit. So the first thing I'm going to do is log in to the service, fetch a token. All right, so now that we have a token, let's just see if I have any sockets already. And you can see I have nothing yet, which is great. This is a clean account just for this demo. So we're going to create a socket, the one similar as we saw in the screen earlier. So this results in a socket ID, which we need to use later on, and a static DNS name. This name is now mine to use, right? And because we created an HTTP socket, it will be listening on port 80 and 443, which means we also get a free TLS certificate. All right, so now that we have this socket, the next thing we need to do is create tunnels. And tunnels, let me just do this here. Tunnels represent the connection between your origin and our global infrastructure. All right, so now we've created this, and so now we have two IDs, a tunnel ID and a socket ID, and with that, we can go and create a connection between my local service and our global infrastructure. So I'm copy-pasting some of the IDs around, and I'm going to paste that in the screen here now. There we go. So what's happening now is I said, hey, I've created this socket and this tunnel, and I would like you now to set up the connection. So this is basically on the client. We're reaching out and say, hey, I'd like to make this service available. And so as you can see, it's connected. So if I now just go to this URL here on port, well, in this case 443, right? Because it's an SSL service. I should be able to see the same service, but publicly available. And there you go. It seems to be working. And yeah, pretty cool. So what you can see here, obviously, as well, is a live stream of the logs that you've seen earlier. And so the only thing we now would need to do, and that's we'll do that in a separate demo, is we can make this, we can wrap this in a loop and a little service or something like that. So if it disconnects, it will automatically reconnect. If I get a different IP, as long as this Tunnel Connect service is running, this service will be globally reachable. All right, that's it for the demo today. Hope you found that useful. If you have any questions, just leave them in the comments under this video or on the blog. Thank you.